Okay, I'm getting ready to go across the street to the sheriff's department to give this civilian complaint form because I had a report done on 11/8 of 2023, and I gave a statement about Anthony Germano and the fraudulent adoption and the threats that he's made about me, or to me rather, taking my house, taking my kids. That being said, I'm here to bring this form, let them know I reported it, give them the DR number, and find out why nothing has happened. Is it a coincidence that my house is going to be taken from me by sheriff's deed, and the threats that Mr. Germano has made against me, stating that he's going to use his friend Jeff Cheyano's brother and Mark Cheyano, who's a sergeant in the sheriff's department, says he's going to use his friend Kevin Cooner to take my house and the sheriff's to take my house, and these threats are coming true. Also, as he said, he's going to take my kids away, and we'll have to see how that happens because we're waiting for family court to make a ruling on that now, but they haven't been taken from me regardless. I haven't seen Isabella in over a year for no reason other than she's not my biological daughter, and she apparently doesn't want to see me anymore, which acknowledgement of maternity was done as part of the fraudulent adoption process. So that's why I'm here reporting this, because all of his threats are coming true against me because I reported this, and I reported it, and nothing is being done. So that being said, we're going to walk in here now. Let's see what's going on. Sure, take your time. I was here earlier in the week, and I talked to a deputy, and I spoke with Mrs. Dell. Mm-hmm. I'd like to follow up. She never returned my phone call. I was here Monday, and she was supposed to give me a return call after she looked into this, but I found the report that I filed back on 11/8 of 23. I've been calling here trying to follow up on it since numerous times, and so when I was here Monday, they advised that maybe I could also call internal affairs. I've called them numerous times. Nobody responds.
And your name, please?
It's Michael Orbino. There's an issue with the sheriff's deed that was done fraudulently as well, too, that I asked to speak with the sheriff.
Okay, let me see if they're available.
Thank you.
They're in a meeting right now. Can you leave your phone number? And she said she'd get back to you.
Yeah, she does it all the time.
I can't.
That's fine. Is there? Yeah, it's 315 396 3344.
396-3344?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, I did this civilian complaint form. I really need to speak with some kind of step back a little bit.
I mean, I don't know who gets those. I've never seen
I'll go to
them.
information and ask.
Yeah, they might.
I'm going to be down here. I've got to speak to a couple attorneys as well. Is there a time I can stop back? Maybe.
I don't know her schedule today,
Okay.
Unfortunately.
I'll stop back a little later.
Okay.
Thank you. How we doing? Where would I turn this in?
I'm sorry,
Where would I turn this in? This complaint form?
where would you serve that?
Yeah, where would I bring this? It's a complaint form. It was online because there's nothing has been done about this report.
Okay, you want to file a complaint form against the sheriff's department?
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily the sheriff's department, but no, what happened is I was threatened by an attorney, and he said if I report a fraudulent adoption that he did, that I have evidence of, that I've turned in, that he was going to use the sheriff's department to take my house and his friends that are judges to take my kids, and he's been doing this. This is coming true. So what's happening is, as the sheriff's department is not following up with me and getting further evidence and investigating it, he's using his friends to harass me, take my kids away, take my house away. So I guess I got to kind of talk to somebody. Who would I speak with about? Is there someone from Internal Affairs here?
This is an attorney that's going after you.
Yeah, and I have evidence of he did a fraudulent adoption for my daughter. So, and I made a report about this back on, where is this, 11/8 of 23.
Good, thank you.
And when I made the report, they said a detective or investigator would follow up with me, which they didn't. And then since then, what I've been doing is calling and stopping down here, and I've spoke with them on Monday, and they told me to call Internal Affairs. I've done that numerous times. Nobody calls me back. But this attorney has he did a fraudulent birth certificate, and I was told to report this by the federal government. It's not like I'm just making it up. I have evidence. He changed her name with a court order, and then from there what he did was he had a signed acknowledgement of paternity, which she was 7 years old. You don't do that when they're 7. And then from there, what happened is he forged another attorney's name as a witness and had his paralegal sign a fictitious name as well. Filed it, I'm finding out, with Vital Statistics to produce a fraudulent birth certificate, because right now the Social Security Administration does not recognize that as a birth certificate. It's being investigated by them, but they've been adamant about me reporting it to local law enforcement, and I've told them I've tried to numerous times. But what happened is he's made threats to me. One of the threats was that his partner in the law firm, Jeff Shiano's brother Mark, is a sergeant here, and I dare you to try to report it to the sheriffs. And I did, and I'm continuing to report it to the sheriffs, because this man has also threatened me and said, if you don't shut up about this, you're going to end up in a ditch. So I just need to let people know, if I end up in a ditch, it's because of this man. I'm reporting federal crimes by an attorney, and he's using the sheriff's department's name. He's literally using the Onondaga County Sheriff's Department sergeant's name to intimidate me, and I don't intimidate well. That's why I'm here today, and I was over there talking to them about it on Monday, and they said someone would get back to me, and here's Thursday. I need to talk to someone about it before I end up in a ditch. So is there anybody in Internal Affairs that I could speak with about an attorney that I have fraudulent evidence against? He's done federal crimes that I've submitted, and the Sheriff's Department is ignoring it, and I was told to report to the Sheriff's Department by the federal government. I'm not making any of it up. I have proof. I've emailed proof. I've also sent it to the courts, and I've also uploaded it into the New York court system using the electronic delivery document system, the EDDS. So it's all into the system, but people are just ignoring it. And what I need to do is sit down with someone, go over the evidence, and have them look into this, because in the meantime, what's happening is there's also been a fraudulent sheriff's deed issued to take the deed out of the name to my house, out of my name, and give it to my ex-wife. And nobody seems to want to care. As this man has threatened to do this as well.
Is the attorney's name Cheyenne?
No. That's the attorney's name is Anthony Germano, but his law partner is Jeff Cheyenne, and Jeff Cheyenne's brother is a sergeant here, and he's used his name. Whether I don't know if it's true or not, but I do know that this is not being investigated and I'm being ignored. So there might be some truth to it. So one of the other threats, like I said, is he's threatened that if I don't shut up about this, he's going to put me in a ditch. So, I mean, I've been copying the U.S. Department of Justice in emails to the courts because of this very threat. And I've reported this to the FBI and everybody. But the thing is, I need to speak with someone in the Sheriff's Department because this report that I made on 11/8 of 23 with Deputy Heffernan, I think her name was, has went ignored. And I've called numerous times. I've called Consumer Affairs, Internal Affairs rather, I'm sorry, and given the DR number, nothing. Nobody returns my phone calls, and I just went over there again, and they told me they're in a meeting, and took my number again. And that's what they do. And it's a very serious accusation when an attorney tells me things, threatens, and they come true, and then on top of that, he's using a sergeant's name to threaten me and intimidate me, a sergeant from the Sheriff's Department. I need to speak with someone. It's not something I'm just going to keep walking away from and hoping someone calls me back, because they're not. And I also have a sheriff's deed that I would like the sheriff Tobias Shelby to look at and see if he actually signed this deed, because I don't believe he did. I have a lot of fraudulent documents going on around this attorney. They can even verify with the Social Security Administration, because they're the ones who sent it to the Office of the Inspector Generals and told me to report this, because my daughter's Social Security number reflects the last name of Mantero. Her birth certificate reflects the last name of Orbino, and they are unwilling to change it because it was done fraud. It was reported by her mother fraudulently. And I was questioned by them about it, and I submitted evidence to them. There must be someone here I can talk to. I mean, this is 8 months ago I submitted this report, and I've been trying. I gave it a couple months, and then I started checking on it at least once or twice a month, calling down here. I've been given every excuse. I'll call you back. Report to the district attorney's office. Oh, we're looking into it. Someone will get back to you. What's your name and number? They even put my phone number wrong on here, and I even called and came down to change that as well to make sure.
Have you tried to talk to the district attorney next door?
I did. I called. I spoke with District Attorney Joe Cooligan. He's I guess he's the number 2. I forget what they call it, Assistant Chief ADA, and he said he doesn't feel comfortable investigating it because Anthony Germano used to work for his office, used to work for him. So with that being said, I don't know if it's a comfort issue, but he even suggested that I report it to law enforcement. So I said I've already done that, and I reported it to. Let's go back to the issue. He suggested I report it to the Sheriff's Department as well, because I don't know if it's a conflict with him investigating because he's friends and colleagues with him. Maybe that's why. But it seems everywhere I go to report it to, seems nobody wants to deal with it. Kind of having the same issue in family court. I reported it to family court as well, because that's where the adoptions are done. And like I said, I uploaded all the evidence, because what he did is he took a judge's took a judge's order to change he changed her name legally, and then he fraudulently did an acknowledgement of paternity and turned that into a birth certificate, a fraudulent birth certificate, fraudulent adoption that I paid $5,000 for. So is there anybody here that I could speak with upon this? Because I mean, it's a serious issue that this man has threatened me and is using the Onondaga County Sheriff's Department Sargent's name to intimidate me. And I was, like I said, I was just over there, and I was there Monday, and I not even a phone call from a sergeant or the sheriff saying, hey, don't worry, nobody's going to do anything to you here. Nothing to even put me at ease. I mean, I would think if I came down here and said, I'm being threatened by an attorney, I have evidence that he's done crimes, he's using a sergeant for the Onondaga County Sheriff's Department's name to intimidate me, saying that that's a good friend of mine, it's my best friend's brother. And then on top of it, it's coming true because nobody is, they're just ignoring me. So there has to be some merit to it. I can't imagine I'm just being ignored in general. If I came down here and reported a regular civilian that threatened to put me in a ditch or did fraud, I'm sure you guys would be all over it investigating. And I'm not saying that you personally or anybody's doing anything wrong. I'm just trying to find out the guy made the threats. And I have evidence here that he said, nobody's going to listen to you because keep it up, you're going to end up in a ditch. Cheyenne's my best friend. His brother's a sergeant, good friend of mine. Your complaint's going to go ignored. Shut your mouth, Michael. That's what he told me. And I have evidence that that's what's happening. I'm not trying to be difficult or anything, but put yourself in my shoes, I have an attorney who I have evidence that he's done federal crimes. That I was told by the Social Security Administration to report him to law enforcement and to the courts where the adoptions take place. I've done that. Nothing has happened. And then I was threatened by the man if I continue to open my mouth about his fraudulent activities, that I would end up in a ditch. Now, I don't know how he plans on doing that, but I know that the Sheriff's Department has ignored the threats he's made against me, and I think it's very serious that he's using the Onondaga County Sheriff's Department Sergeant's name to intimidate me. And then nobody wants to hear this. Nobody wants to look at this. In the meantime, his other threats of taking my home away. I was just issued a sheriff's deed that I have to be out of my house in 3 weeks. I fired my divorce attorney because he's friends with him, I found out, in 2022. And they had a divorce from 2022 to present, and somehow in between there, without me, didn't even invite me, I wasn't allowed to represent myself. So his threats are very seriously coming through. And the Onondaga County Sheriff's Department is involved in them because at the very least they're not following up or looking into it. And I complained about the sheriff's deed that I have. There's been some alterations to it. After allegedly, the sheriff signed it, Sheriff Tobias Shelby signed it. I have evidence, and when I discussed that with Mrs. Dell on Monday, and she confirmed it, someone altered it. They changed dates on there and stuff with a pen, which is also a violation. You can't do that. So I said I would be back and I would discuss it. And I came back and nobody wants to discuss it. But is there anybody here that I could speak with upon this? It's a serious, and I have evidence, so I'm not just making it up. I wouldn't come down here and make up a story. I hate to keep you. I know you got people late. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I would think a good one to talk to would be the undersheriff.
Is he available or is she available? Who is it?
No, his car's not here.
Maybe an email address or an extension, a phone number and extension I could call later on or stop back.
His name is Jeff Casino. But he's kind of a no-nonsense guy, and he can be a little excitable.
Well, I don't want to. I'm a no-nonsense guy too. I don't want to excite anybody, but I'm just telling the truth here. It's very serious.
Yeah.
Maybe his email and a phone number and extension. I'm gonna stop back in a little while. I'm gonna check in a couple other places here, and I'll stop back. I'm gonna stop back and talk to see if Mrs. Dell is out of her meeting in a little while after I run a few errands. Waiting for them to call me back over there as well, but I just figured I would check with you too.
Well, they said that someone's going to call you back.
They've been saying that for almost a year now, 8 months at least. So
What the
yeah, over
civil
there.
division?
Yeah. Well, just because of the deed, and I've reported the threats to them over there as well, but nobody seems to take them seriously. And if they weren't coming true, if I didn't have a sheriff's deed and I didn't have an ignored complaint from 8-9 months ago, I wouldn't believe him, his threats. But because they're actually coming true, I got to take them serious. And like I said, the last threat that I was given was I was going to end up in a ditch, and he used the Onondaga County Sheriff Sargent's name to intimidate me and to threaten that, to my knowledge. So I need to speak with someone and get this out in the open, because if, God forbid, I end up in the ditch, I want people to know why I'm in that ditch.
What do you mean, what's the one? Yes.
This is his private number,
Okay.
and I would appreciate if you wouldn't tell him where you got it from.
I won't.
Yeah,
I won't.
just that you
No,
spoke with
I will.
you
I
spoke
will.
with someone from the department who felt that you were correct in being wrong.
I will speak to him, and I won't bother him on that line. I'll make it a business call only, and I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you so much, and I'll be back to talk to them later. But I appreciate your help.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I need the file.